don't want to put out my videos because I'm going to get all of these trolls and all of these people is going to flood my page, which I wish would have happened, right? Right? That's what we want, more traffic. All these people are going to flood my page and they're going to judge me. And it's just like, my career is going to be over. And we tend to make it a catastrophic event, which is why we never get a chance to move forward. But you got to realize that it's not the avoidance of the things, of the skills you need to acquire to achieve your goal. So there's a concept that's called identity shifting. And this is being the version of yourself that's going to allow you to achieve your goals. A lot of times we want to achieve big dreams and goals, and I want to help this amount of people, 1 million people. I want to be on stages. I want to make 50K a month. We want to do these things, but we're not the type of person that deserves to get those results. I'm just being 100. I know, because when I started in 2015 saying that I want to help college students, I had big ambitions on wanting to help people be it to graduate college and then get into their career field. And a lot of people know, because y'all been following me for a minute. Remember when I came out with the book, The Fastest Way to Win in College, right? And remember I was at Virginia State University, and I remember signing posters. And it's so funny. I just did a speech at VSU a few months ago, and I met up with the dean of the business school, who and we were kind of reminiscing on that moment. But what's interesting is that at the time, although I felt like I was making an impact and I was doing activity, I wasn't the type of person that deserved to achieve the goals that I wanted. And at the time, I'm just like, yo, I just want to make 5K a month. I just want to be able to, have enough confidence to, to speak to more people and help more people. But I wasn't the person that should get those results. Coach T, what do you mean specifically? So for example, let's say you got a goal and you want to make 10K a month, right? Now, in order to achieve that goal, there's a reason why you're not already there, right? And I call it identity shifting, where you have to shift into that identity. So for example, when I started, I didn't really have that much confidence, and I didn't have, and I was afraid of being judged. I'm from New York City, south side of the Bronx, hiding in the cars because of shootouts, drinking 40 ounces at the age of 14. Shout out to St. Oz, right? You feel what I'm saying? I was, smoking crazy, right? Obviously before it was legal in New York. I was hanging with a lot of dudes that could have ended up dead or in jail. A lot of the guys that I grew up with are either dead in jail or hooked on drugs. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was at that time. But what's crazy is that when I transitioned, I went to college, got my bachelor's and my master's degree. And when I first came into this industry, I didn't have any role models. I didn't have anybody that was like, yo, Terrell, here's what you need to do. Here's the ropes. So naturally, when I came in, I came with sort of the same demeanor or not having the right skill sets to make me into the person I needed to achieve the goal. So I didn't have the confidence at first. I was afraid of the judgment at first. I obviously didn't have the marketing skills, the sales skills. Those are hard skills. But just personally for me, I would procrastinate. I would say I want to do something, but I would pump fake. I would have imposter syndrome. So, are people really going to listen to me? Yo, look where I'm from. Yo, I didn't know this. No, what gives me the credibility to feel like I can help people? So crazy. Everybody would face that. People face it on different levels. It doesn't matter. It's not an income related thing. It's just where you're at in the journey right now. You'd be surprised how many people who got a certain amount of money, or they like, but I don't belong in that circle, right? Or they could be making 10 million a year, but I don't belong in the $100 million a year circle. It happens at every level. But the thing is, at the level that you're at right now, there's a reason why you're not already at the level that you want to be. And it's because you haven't identified those characteristics and you haven't decided to approach it. So, all right, Coach T, I got it. But how do I overcome this? So there's a couple of things. One, you have to be self-aware. I was just talking to a lady earlier today, actually, and we were kind of going through, well, so what are some of your characteristics? Like, I call it your character flaws. I said, well, what are some of your character flaws that has been slowing you down from achieving a goal? And, she was saying certain things like, I felt like I've been kind of stubborn and different things. Right. And I'm glad that we identified that, because that is what we call your Achilles heel. Anytime you want to achieve a goal, yes, there's hard skill reasons why you're not there, but there's personal reasons, right? Are you procrastinating? Are you stubborn? Are you lacking the confidence? So the lack of confidence got you hesitating or pump faking. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be successful. I don't know if I can do it. You got these limiting beliefs, right? Maybe you're telling yourself you're afraid of success. So maybe you're telling yourself I'm afraid of failure. There's so many internal things that could be happening with you that's slowing you down from actually achieving your goal. And I've really had a little bit of all of it, but the biggest thing is overcoming it. Because I can tell you the skills that I have today versus the skills that I had when I first started is different. When I first started, I was afraid to make the call. Oh, maybe they're with their family. Oh, maybe they don't want to have a conversation with me. Oh, maybe they don't think I'm credible. Maybe they'll judge me. Oh, I hope they don't ask me certain questions because I'm not going to know how to answer it. And guess what? That would make me pump fake with having the conversations, right? Oh, I don't want to put out my videos because I'm gonna get all of these trolls and all of these people is gonna flood my page, which I wish would have happened, right? That's what we want, more traffic. All these people are gonna flood my page and they're gonna judge me, and it's just like my career is gonna be over. And we tend to make it a catastrophic event, which is why we never get a chance to move forward. But you got to realize that it's not the avoidance of the things of the skills you need to acquire to achieve your goal. It's having the courage to go through it anyway that's going to allow you to achieve your goal. So when I first put out my YouTube videos, I was dead afraid to put it on public. So if you ever did a YouTube video before, you know that you have the ability to put it as private, unlisted, or public. Always unlisted. Had the link, yo, tell me what you think of that video. Tell me what you think of that. And I would just send these little videos because I was afraid that what people were going to say if I made it public. So literally, I was afraid to put my videos out. Imagine how crazy that is, right? All these videos you see me put out now, I'm posting, we do things, we do speaking engagements, we do live events, all of these trainings and shows we do. Imagine if I was still struggling with that now. You know how many lives I wouldn't have been able to impact? Through my training and content, we've impacted over 2.1 million people in the last few years. How crazy is that? Imagine if I was still afraid to put out videos. We put out over 15 online courses. Imagine if I was afraid to do speaking engagements. I spoke in all different type of places across the country, right? Imagine if I was afraid to speak and help people. And I've done, at least at this time, I've done thousands, at least 5,000 to 6,000 individual strategy calls and enrolled over 200 people in our coaching program, right? And graduated 200 people from. Imagine how much that would have held me back if I was afraid to communicate. I was continuing to being afraid to put myself out there, right? Lord willing, we've been full time for the last few years, so obviously we're doing something right. But I'm mentioning all of this because you gotta identify what your character flaws are, because it is impacting your business whether you realize it or not. And I call it identity shifting, meaning the identity that you have right now is what's giving you that glass ceiling that's preventing you from achieving the goal that you really want to achieve. So in order to get past that, you got to have awareness to it, but then you got to constantly be working on it. That's the importance of coaches. That's the importance of getting a supportive community. That's the importance of, like, you got to be working it. Like, if there's something that you're lacking confidence in, then why don't you got to have the courage to go through it, right? You don't have courage without fear. The only reason somebody will call you courageous is because you have fear. Does that make sense? If you're going into a situation and you're 100% confident, then we're not going to call you courageous. You're only courageous when you're fearful, but you go through it anyway. Does that make sense? So you got to identify what those character flaws are. You got to be like, all right, cool. I see it. It's in front of me. It's written down. It's in my journal. It's on a note. It's on my mirror. It's in my car. It's an alarm on my phone. Like, what's up? And you gotta have enough courage to go through whatever you're going through in order to achieve it. Because once that happens, then we can say, And you could do it simultaneously. So I don't want to say then you can say, but as you're going through that and you're building your business, you're going to realize, oh, my business is more successful. You know what? I was procrastinating because I didn't really know how to do the thing. And that was because I was afraid of trying to figure it out. But once I started learning how to figure it out, I took more action. And because I took more action, I got more results. And then now I'm getting the clients. Now I'm booking the appointments. Now I'm putting out social media content. Now I understand what I need to do in my program. Does that make sense? So you gotta shift that identity. This is a huge thing that every time I talk to somebody about building their business, they just think it's going to be straight like, yo, let me walk you through those strategies, which I do walk through the strategies. But over the last few years, I realized that you got to look at the person too, because your results are going to be limited if you're consistently allowing your lack of character in that area hold you back. So like when I was telling you, when I met with the lady earlier, she was, you know, that stubbornness would hold you back. Imagine getting a coach but one of your flaws is being stubborn. Think about that. That means that every time that I give you something to do, and if it's something that you don't like or you don't want to hear, you're going to be like, no, I ain't doing it. Because you're stubborn. It's because, you know what? It's not what I want to hear, so I ain't going to do it. It's not what I feel like doing, because so I ain't going to do it. Everything in life that you want, there's going to be some aspect of it that you don't want to do, right? Whether it's a relationship, there's going to be a point in time where you don't want to do something. You don't feel like doing something, right? If it's your business, it's the same thing. If it's your health, it's the same thing. If relationships, your mindset, I don't care what it is. At some point, everything ain't going to be 100% candy and marshmallows falling from the sky. I don't know if that's even a thing, but you get what I'm saying, right? So that's is understanding that those are the points where you really need to push through in order to get to your next level. So it's not the avoidance of the things that you lack that's going to get you to the next level. And listen to what I'm saying. It is the thing that you know that you lack that's the stepping stone to the next level. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not avoiding procrastination. It's not avoiding getting more confident. It's not avoiding the fear. It's not avoiding the limiting belief. It's not avoiding the stubbornness. You know, it's not avoiding the lack of patience. It's not avoiding the imposter syndrome or the judgment. It's not avoiding those things. That actually is the thing that's the stepping stone. And I can tell you, looking back, they always say hindsight is 20/20. I can tell you, looking back, all of the things that I was afraid of and I was fearful of, I would allow me to get to the level where we're making an impact we're making now is the fact that I was willing to go through that process. So guess what? Guess what I do now? We always are ambitious, right? And we always have another goal. So even when you get to whatever level you make it to, at that point, there's going to be something else you're going to be ambitious to want to get, right? So what I learned now is that anytime I'm going for goals, the first question I ask is actually not what I need to do. The first question I really ask myself is, who do I need to become? So I said, if I become, and this is how I evaluate me reaching my goals now, it's like, okay, who do I need to become? And what do I need to do? What is a strategy that I know for a fact works? But who do I also need to become, aka what identity do I need to shift into in order to achieve it? Because the people who are achieving these results that I want, and regardless of what the goal is, people who are achieving these results, they have a certain level of character that allows them to achieve that. There's a certain level of character. There's maybe a certain level of confidence. It might be a certain level of consistency. It might be a certain level of courage that they got to do. There's this, they don't get as tired as most people. They have more energy. They got stamina. You know, I'm able to deal with stress way more now than I was, you know, in 2015, right? I used to get overwhelmed quickly. Oh, I got 5 things to do. Now I understand how to evaluate it, how to schedule things on my calendar, you know, how to spread things out, how to push projects further out, how to bring certain things closer. I know where to focus. That's a skill set that I had to learn over the years that I didn't know at first. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. Let me throw my hands up and let me chill and let me do nothing. So please pay attention to this. Is identity shifting, and then making sure that you have the strategy so you know specifically what to do. So one of the things that I decided to do, I did this actually last year, and people went crazy over it. And this is when I was doing I did essentially coaching sessions, and I believe I hosted it. Where I hosted it, it was on Instagram. So I'm bringing it back. So that we did that last year, but people loved it so much that when I just mentioned it. We got a private Facebook group. It should be somewhere if you're watching this on my Facebook page or my Instagram, wherever you're watching this at. That we have a Facebook group for coaches only. That's who we focus on. That's who we specialize with. I help coaches be able to build their business from scratch. We got a lot of folks who are going full time in their business, and then also too we have a marketing agency called Mass Attention Marketing, where we book appointments for you, and we find your ideal clients for you, right, through paid advertising. What's so interesting is that when I just mentioned that I was going to be doing this this coaching show where we're going to bring guests on and I'm just going to give advice, people went crazy. Like the first day, we got like 37 responses. I did it as a post inside of our group. We got like 37 people like the first 24 hours who was like, "Yo, please, I want to be on it. Let me be a guest. Give me some advice." So because of that, I'm like, okay. So we started to put together a waiting list. And this is the show that we're getting ready to start. So if this is something that you want to do, depending on when you're watching this, you know, the show might already be in effect, but we're launching this next week. And if this is something that if you want to be a guest on this show, so I can help you untangle some of these things, right? Whether it's the business, I call it business mindset, right? Because I do mindset, but I like to relate it towards business because I know how that impacts your business. So you're going to be one of the only people that hear me talk about business mindset. But, you know, whether it's from a business mindset perspective or whether it's from a hardcore strategy perspective, like, yo, how do I determine my price? How do I put together my program? How do I set it up? What apps or technology or AI do I need to use? It could be anything in relation to social media, coming up with content, booking appointments, which, by the way, if your program is already ready, but you're not generating the revenue that you want, it's probably because you're not speaking with enough people.